I'm Ann Zimmerman, Vice President, of the Salina League of Women Voters, and we are here for Lunch and Learn. Welcome to all of you. Most of you are members, a couple of you aren't. We'd be happy to have anybody watching on TV or anybody in the community be a member of the League of Women Voters, which has a website, lwvsalina.org, which we're just renewing in the next few days and updating. We are here today with our county clerk, Jamie Allen. When she was elected last year, she was Jamie Doss, so if you don't recognize her name, that's why. She got married in between then and now. She's going to talk about our new voting machines and some other election-related information, because she is not only the county clerk, but the election officer for Saline County. So let's welcome Jamie Allen.
Hi, I appreciate you having me here today. Like she said, I do have our election equipment here and I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna expedite some of our check-in process, our voting process, and our tabulation. The three pieces of equipment that we have here, this is our what's called our no ink poll pad. It's our electronic poll pad for checking in. We have here our Express Vote, which is our ballot marking device. And then we also have what's called our DS200, which is our precinct tabulator. So we will be tabulating the votes at the polling places. Instead of bringing the paper ballots back and counting them at our office, it'll be done out there. So I'll go through kind of the process of what you'll go through when you check in. When you come in, you obviously have your driver's license, and come to the poll worker. She'll put review to make sure your picture is correct on your ID, and then put it in the holder. They'll scan your barcode, and it'll pull you up, and it's that quick. What it does is reads the barcode on the back and then pulls up your voting information. Pulls up your ballot style and all of that. The voter will then either use a stylus or their finger, sign on the poll pad, they'll accept it. The poll worker will verify they saw your ID, and then it prints your ballot ticket. This ballot ticket is what you'll take, well actually you'll have a privacy slate for your ballot, but this is what you'll take to the Express Vote to pull up your ballot style. Some places have up to 5 ballot styles at their voting location, so doing this will prevent them from accidentally handing you the wrong one.
What is a ballot style?
A ballot style is like, for instance, out in town, we only have really one ballot style, but we have some places that have precinct 34 and 36 are at one place. So you have a ballot for 34 and a ballot for 36. So we make sure we get you the right one. The names are the same on them in town, but when you get out in the county, like Cambria Township, they have 5 because they have 5 different school districts that go through there. Well, or 4 different school districts in the city of New Cambria. So they're voting on their city commission or their city council. So
does that replace the polling workers with the books?
So you don't have to flip through the alphabet and find you. It's all right here. There is a process if you show a military ID instead of your driver's license that they can manually look you up and type in your name. So, but because that is a valid ID, so.
Have we always had barcodes on our licenses?
Yes, you
Yes,
do.
on the back.
I never noticed.
Yes. Actually, you have 2 barcodes.
Yeah.
And it reads just the one to pull you up on here. But this is kind of expediting the process. This also, like when we got the paper ballots in previously, or the paper poll books, we would have to go through each one of those and scan the barcodes that were in there to give voter credit. What I can do is I have an iSync, if you know iPads very much, but I have technically a thumb drive. I can stick in here, export the list, and pull it into our voter registration system to give everybody voter credit in one fell swoop. And we're not having to manually go through those 30-some books to to give everybody credit, which expedites our process too, so.
Does a passport work?
You can use it for ID, and then they'll just have to look you up manually, yeah. This is our next item that we have. This is actually replaces our IVOs that we had currently. I have traded all of those in. So this is what we have. This is actually a little different than the IVO. This is just a ballot marking device. This doesn't tabulate anything. It's not doing anything other than marking your device. These will sit on a table. I elected not to get the booths, which they're really expensive, but this will sit on a table, and these are your privacy screens. So when you're voting, no one else can see you. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off so you kind of see everything a little better.
How many of those machines do you have?
I bought 138 because we're gonna do the same setup as the IVOs. You're gonna have multiple at each voting location, so. Now the difference is, I didn't bring any of the big paper ballots, the sample. I didn't bring the ones that we have pre-printed, because this is now your ballot. This is blank. The ones that we actually have to pre-print from a printer, they're 26 cents a piece. This, and they're one-time use. So this is 7 cents, and I can use this. These are good for 7 years. So if I don't use them all, I can use them next election. So this is saving us 20 cents a ballot. So when we have people come in, that's really using our tax dollars wisely. So what you'll do when you come in, or the poll worker will actually do this for you. They'll take your thing, they'll stick your ballot in here for you. I'm gonna have to turn it around because it has to go in straight. It'll recognize, that's what's called an activator, your ballot, it activates it, and then they just scan it. And then it pulls up your ballot. They don't have to, like I said, find which precinct, find which school district you are, or anything. You'll go in and go through the screens. It'll tell you, I only voted 2, it'll tell you, hey, you undervoted, do you still want to go ahead and go with this? And you can just hit next. Pick your candidates for the school district. And then one of the things on the school district, and people were kind of confused about this, is we have 2 races technically in the school district. We have the people who are actually up this year, and then we had a candidate who, or a school board member who went off the school board prior to his 2-year, halfway through his term. So then we now have them on the ballot this year, but that's considered a separate race. So now we have them here, the unexpired 2-year term. And then you also have the Central Kansas Extension District for people here in town. Well, actually, Central Kansas Extension District is everyone, but for, they have 2 board members. I'm not sure, a lot of people don't know the Extension District.
There's campaigning, what is it?
The Extension District is the Kansas Extension District that's in our courthouse, the K-State Extension District. We are actually, the Central Kansas Extension District is Ottawa County and Saline County, and this is their board members. And everyone in Saline County is part of that district, so that's
What
one
does
that'll be
it
on
do?
there.
Is that like the extension service through K-State?
Yep, yeah, that's what.
For-
So, and they have board members, so they have two on our ballots, and in Ottawa County they have 2, so.
And they spend money because they've got to.
Yeah, they have their own budget and mill levy, yeah. Yeah, you'll see them on your tax statement because they're on there every year, so. Which is another thing that I do, is right now I'm in the middle of setting levies at the same time, so. When you go through and you have your opportunity to review everything on the screen, and that's kind of similar to the IVOs if you voted on the machines before. At the end though, it'll say print card. And this prints a ballot for everyone. So this card will come out with your selections on it. You'll have a ballot sleeve, which is just a manila folder that we're using. You just stick it in there. And then what you'll do is you'll carry this over to the DS200. I do have, where is it? I have a few samples back here, I don't know where I stuck them at, but this is what it'll look like. And it'll have just the selections I made on there for each of your races. And then you'll just take it over here and you slide these in. I mean, the DS200. And you're done.
Why do we need a ballot sleeve?
The ballot sleeve is just for privacy.
Do you take it from here to there?
Well, this might be across the room. Right now, it's just right here. But there's only gonna be one of these at the polling place, so each person will be taking their ballot over.
You put it in
And
the
putting it
sleeve
in.
and take it out and stick it in there?
Yeah, but it'll just be I mean, some people, you know, are more concerned with other people seeing their ballots than others.
And then it saves the paper copy,
Mm-hmm.
so that there are paper
So there's
ballots. They
backup.
can be manually looked at.
Yes, so,
Hard copy that.
and that did, and that actually did happen. I did go down and watch the 4th Congressional District election in Sedgwick County because they were using this equipment before I purchased mine, because I wanted to see it in the polls and how they ran their process. And they did have an instance where the poll worker pulled the media out too quickly when they were running through closing. And what happened when they did that is it caused an error on it, so they weren't able to read the votes. So when they brought this back, they bring the ballots back that night too. These will come back with them. They were able to just rescan these through. So we were able to, if there was an issue, we just get a new media device and run it back through the machine.
And what is that called, that device, the whole thing?
The whole thing is a DS200 tabulator.
Okay.
It's a precinct tabulator. So then at the end of the night, when they close this, they bring, there's media, there's a, looks like a thumb drive. It's a military grade, highly encrypted thumb drive that's actually a seal that's in here as well, so that it's not taken out until the end of the night. And 2 election workers take this out together. They take this out and bring it back, but this is what we read our ballots on now. So once that comes back, we have a result tape. We also have the media that we are able to verify the
So
results.
if you do have an error, they rerun it at the polling place?
No,
They have
no,
to
they'll
bring
bring
the
the
whole
ballots.
list back to you?
They don't have to bring this
tomorrow.
machine. We don't have to bring this machine. They just have to bring the ballots back.
Ballots back.
And what we would do is then just get our resolution board, because we usually have Democrat and Republican both there, and we'll just have them run them back through a machine. Because we'll have machines at the county.
At your office that you can,
Yeah, that we'll have there, yeah, that we use. So
How many precincts are there?
there are 33 polling places.
Oh.
We have 54 precincts. Which people kind of get mixed up on some of that, but 33 places we voted at, so.
Why did you buy the machines?
Well, for a few reasons. One of the reasons is this equipment only has a 10 to 15 year lifespan. So we got these in 2005, implemented them in 06, the previous equipment. So they were at the end of their years. They also were no longer going to be able to, they were going to have enough to be able to work on them to keep them going a few more years. Because of, obviously when they come out with new stuff, they kind of start weeding out the old stuff. And on the equipment previously, and a lot of people don't know this, is every piece on this is certified through the AEC and certified through the state of Kansas. So you have screws and different parts that you are no longer going to be able to get. Also, we had some screens that were, you know, obviously old touchscreen technology that weren't working as well. And the cost of us to get it fixed was actually so expensive, it made sense to get new. Plus, we had the money in the budget, and it was about that time to really, and this is a good year to do it. So people kind of, it's a little slower year, so a little more comfortable. It's not a busy year. Like next year is going to be a little busier. So they have the time to kind of take their time to get familiar with the new equipment. So.
And you have the paper that you could check against the tabulation machine.
Yeah, so we'll have, instead of us going through what you saw in the iVotes, they had the RTEL log that every keystroke that was made on there. If there was an issue, us having to go back through there, you know, we have just this little bit to go through, which is
So it's
easier.
important for us to actually look at that and make
Mhm.
sure it's true.
Yes, yeah, make sure, I mean, you go through and review it on your screen, but just when it prints, double check it. I mean, that actually gave you another check for you to look. And plus, one of the things, another reason is, I want to start programming our own ballots. So we actually program this election ourselves. Look, I mean, we did it here. We were spending a lot of money sending it off to do it. They did a great job, but I knew that we had the people and the staff in our office to be able to do that. So we actually do it ourselves. So we wanted to do that. I also knew that a lot of people, they like their paper ballot. They like having something in their hand, looking at it saying, okay, yes, these are the selections going to be. And this gives us that opportunity, as well as also saves on ballot costs. So I don't have to order as many of the pre-printed ones.
Any
So,
chance, I guess, we had a little comment there, that any chance the printer's gonna run out of ink in the middle of the election?
actually, good question. That's a thermal printer. It won't. It's not, I mean, that's another great thing about this equipment versus some of the other ones, even the ones we looked at last year, is all of this doesn't have consumables. It doesn't have moving parts. You're not getting jams. I mean, this one could, the likelihood is rare. If your ballot gets stuck in there, it's really easy to fix. As we try to wad them up, put them in there every way when we were doing LNA testing. Try to put them in any way we could get them in there just to see if it would mess up. And, you know, but this doesn't have moving parts. You know, it has, you know, it reads it. It's an optical scan, so it has an image of it as well of your ballot, but it doesn't really have moving parts, so that there's not a lot that we're having to upkeep and maintain, and could cause problems on election day.
Could you explain what a thermal printer is?
Heat technique, I mean, that's the easiest way to explain it. It's just like the credit card receipts that you get at a gas pump. That's thermal paper and thermal,
So there's a coating on the paper that
Yeah.
that allows
responds
that.
to heat?
Oh,
So
thank you.
Like,
So
they help.
you don't have this big icky thing of black powder that you get on.
No, and we're not, and the changing the paper of the IVOs, oh my God, it was so painful to change. Don had it down to a science. It took me a little longer, but it was really painful. But this, I just like the idea that everybody has a paper ballot. We have the option of going back. There was legislation that was implemented last year, or not implemented, brought forth last year that didn't get passed. But I think it'll come back of doing a post-election audit. Well, those are hand done. Those are not by machine. So we'll have these to help us if that passes, which I have a feeling it will at some point. So,
Is this thing completely self-contained? I mean, there's no electronic signals going out from it?
no,
Nothing coming
and
in?
nothing,
Nobody's gonna be able to
Nothing's
penetrate
wireless.
this thing?
no, just like we've always had
Okay.
with our IVOs, all this stuff is just hooked up to a plug-in. I mean,
Okay.
there's nothing that's talking to one another
I know
or
last
anything like that.
election, people asked me, well, how many people feed these results in and out? And I said, I don't know.
No, in the state of Kansas, we can't modem.
Okay.
We can't have anything on the internet. Our election results computer is actually not allowed to be on the internet. So like the normal updates you get on your computer at home or your iPad or whatever, we can't do that.
Okay.
So it's solely on a separate, it's just a plug-in. There's
Is that
nothing.
unusual in the country?
Hmm?
Is that an unusual, do most states have that, or?
No, there are some states that actually allow modem and allow to be on the internet, and so they can upload their election results straight to their website. We can't do that. We have to put it on a thumb drive. I have to take it to my normal computer, the reports, and then upload it to our website. So no, some allow it. State of Kansas does not. So none of this, they aren't even hooked together. One thing I didn't really talk about, sorry I didn't do that. This is also an 88 one. This works for both. This is another reason why I like this one. It's got, I swear, military Velcro on this too, because it is really hard to take off. But anyway, this is every one of these machines can be used for ADA. So if somebody comes in, we have headphones here, we have the sip and puff and everything, and the
What
keypad.
did you just say, sip and puff?
Sip and puff, yes, that they use, the people who have
Oh, they make,
yeah.
like, give signals by blowing
Yeah,
the
they
straw?
have like a straw type, yeah. We have some of those.
So the headphones would be for the blind.
Mhm.
Huh.
So it can be read to them. And what's nice, what I like about this too, is the voice on this machine is the voice that they're used to in the ADA community. His name is Tom. We have Premium Tom, which I'm even more excited about. But that's the voice that they're familiar with. So we also do our own audio. So we program our own audio when we program these. So, you know, we're familiar with a candidate name, so we're able to make those adjustments to the phonetics
So
of
they say it
that. So.
correctly.
Mhm.
And you
But-
assume somebody's not both deaf and blind, huh?
Well, if they do, usually they have someone that helps them, so. And our poll workers can always help anyone, they're under oath, so our poll workers can always help, but if they bring someone in, they just have to fill out a form that someone else is assisting them, but. And a lot of the ADA community, some of them also just have a ballot mailed to them, because they have that option.
Sure.
Yeah, so, but this is for, and it sits right nice and snug there, but you really have to have some muscles to take that off the whole room, but it's nice, so. Is there any other questions as far as our, oh, here's where I set our ballots. I'll pass these around and kind of look at what they look like. These are just some of the ones that we printed when we were doing our logic and accuracy testing, so. I'm gonna pass this back.
What if they want to write in a candidate?
There is a way to write it in. You just click on, I'm sorry, I should have done that. That's a good question. It's write-in. We have to have one write-in line
Okay.
for every open position. So for the city of Salina, the commission, we have 3. So then you just type in whoever you want, and it shows up on that screen. And then you can see it won't let you overvote. It says too many selections are made. So and that's what I was mentioning. This is nice when you're using it as a ballot marking device. It's not gonna let you overvote. I mean, if you're filling out a paper ballot, it's easy to do
Get mixed
4.
up on the dots.
Get mixed up on the dots, or do 4 instead of 3, and then you have to take it back and get a new one. This kind of, helps from that. This does have contrast as well, so if someone has vision trouble, they can change it right there on the screen. You can also zoom in, so if you need a little bit bigger, and you can do that yourself. I mean, it doesn't change any of the settings or anything, so you can zoom in and out where you have the whole race, where you have, it will make you look through everyone, so if you have it bigger, there'll be more at the bottom. You actually have to touch that more and see all of the candidates so that it won't let you go past it, so you don't miss someone. So, because I can do this and try to hit next, and it'll say you haven't looked at it, even though I just did. But yeah, so that can be adjusted per voter, so if someone needs bigger print or whatever.
And if you make a mistake, like look at this and say, that's not what I wanted, when I give it to someone.
Mm-hmm.
they
It'd just be
destroy it.
just like this FOIL ballot process. You would just take it and say, I marked this incorrectly, I need another one, and you go back and get a new one, and they just put it in the FOIL ballots. I don't know if many people know about FOIL ballots, but you're 3 strikes, you have 3 chances. That's it. By statute, you have up to 3 ballots. So if you make a mistake a couple times, you throw one, you need to be a little more careful. But yeah, so you have that option to take that back, because that happens. I mean, kind of get in a hurry, need to get back to lunch, it's easy to mismark those, but.
And how much is each machine?
It's a good question, because off the top of my head, so I kind of bought these if I remember correctly, these are around, I don't have the exact figures, but, about 38 of those and, 150, I think these are about 4,000 or right around 4,000, 3,500, 4,000. Those are about the same a piece. This whole setup, because I got bids last year and I got rebid this year, so I'm trying to go off of memory, but I think these were under 1,000 for the whole setup. That includes the heavy duty case, you know, and the printer, and then this as well as the licensing, so.
Does the paper in your hand that the person gets, do they keep that after?
No, that'll go to the election worker, that's
So
over
they
there.
gotta turn that in, plus they gotta feed that machine in, the
They'll- yeah.
ballot, and they gotta turn that into.
Well, there'll be an election worker right here.
Okay,
So there'll be one that'll be taking these, taking your sleeve from you after you put it in here.
oh, the worker puts it in there, not the.
No,
voter.
you put it in there. The voter will put it in here, and then you just hand your stuff over to the election worker. Your privacy sleeve and this.
And what's done with that?
This, we just keep it to match our counts. So when we get these back, I can say, okay, this is how many tickets we have, this is how many we have checked
The poll
in.
workers don't have to match them up, but you guys are gonna.
No, we do it when we get back.
Before we.
They
had-
just stick 'em in a
We
bag.
had the polling book, and then we had to match it up with
Yeah.
the.
No more
We
stickers.
don't do that.
No more stickers, you'll be excited. You don't need tape and stickers
Okay,
for
now-
those paper poll books.
When the voter puts it in the machine, the driver's license, and the polling book, they had to sign the polling book. Do they sign?
Mhm.
their own machine?
sign on
Yeah.
Electronically.
Yeah,
Like
so,
you do at
You
polls
probably
or
told me
somewhere.
that.
yeah. I'll have
Put it
to-
electronically.
Let's pull up Ann, because I'll have to pull up someone else, because I've already checked in, so. So then she would just sign right there on the screen. I mean, you can use, they have a stylus right here, or you can use your finger.
Okay.
Lefties have a tendency, and I'm just saying this because we have someone in the office does this all the time, she has a tendency of her hand down. And so you're holding your hand over here, so it's recognizing that touch. So I usually tell lefties, or actually anybody, to use their finger, because it's just easier.
Is there any attempt at matching it to your real signature?
It's kind of like I mean, it's similar, but it's kind of like you signing at Dylan's. It's gonna match, but it's not real close, but.
But I've heard of people saying Daffy Duck or something. If you did that,
But they're matching this.
It has to be your driver's license, so if your
They're,
driver's license.
well,
says-
whatever
Oh, they're
government
matching
issued
it.
ID, they're looking at your picture.
uh-huh,
Don't look at mine, it's not very good. They're looking at your picture and they're looking at your name. So the poll worker has already verified this is you.
the
So-
signature is just
So you can sign, I
Yeah.
mean,
XYZ if you want
You
to.
can be
Yeah.
Daffy Duck if you want to on your signature.
we would really appreciate you signing your actual
No, I know.
signature. I actually I do have, I am able to export those, all of the stuff in here, so.
And you'd know I did it, huh?
That's right.
Well, it helps for like, if there are some voters that we don't have a recent signature, like we have somebody, and we actually ran into this, somebody registered in the early 80s, and obviously they were in their 40s then, and they're signing now, and they're, maybe a little shaky now. It doesn't look the same. So we're able to import those and update those, and Tammy, when she started, still put hearts on her. Because when she did back in school, she had hearts on her signature, so we updated her, so.
More hearts, huh?
No more hearts. It was really fun when we found that out. But, oh, that doesn't want to work today. And then they're doing their initials to verify they saw your ID. So you still have that part of the process that you're still putting your initials in there. And you can do it with your stylus or whatever. But as far as the equipment, it's kind of a fast process, but
So you said every polling place has a Democrat and a Republican?
that's what we're supposed to have or try to have. This year, we're having a little harder time with getting poll workers. The parties are to call and appoint some poll workers, and we're having some trouble getting enough poll workers. So in our office, if you know anyone that is willing to work polls, we still need some. We had 4 cancellations this morning, so it's getting really tough, and we're gonna get down to
So
the
look at the
wire.
camera and say, call the office.
Yeah, call it, yeah, definitely. If you want to vote or want to work elections, it's November 7th. We're starting training tomorrow. You can call our office. It's 309-5820 and ask for Jody. She's the one that is working up our poll workers. So it does pay minimum wage, not a lot, but yeah. So
Provisional ballots, still paper, or will they run through this too?
they can be ran through here. I'm not going to do that. I think it's just too much at once and it's going to be a little confusing because obviously this isn't a tabulator. So they could come over here and mark it, then put an envelope, but we're not going to do that this year. I think we're going to keep the process the same, and they'll have their pre-printed ballot that they'll fill out just like they did before, the front of the envelope, and then it'll go in the red ballot box that you're used to having at your polls. The only thing that'll go in the red ballot boxes will be provisionals. And then one change this year with legislation last year is advanced ballots. Couple of changes is advanced ballots can now be dropped off at the polls where they weren't allowed to be before. So on election day, somebody can drop by and say, here's my advanced ballot. We'll just have them stick them in the red ballot box. And we'll just sort them when we get them back to the office. But they also can mail them in. They will just have to be postmarked by election day. And we can actually receive them up to the Friday after the election and still count them. That's new legislation that passed, so that's kind of a change. Yes?
If I understand correctly, a county-wide ballot would be all self-contained. Your office would make the tabulations, do it and make the tabulations. But in a statewide race, you take a thumb drive and put it in your computer and send it to the state, or where do you send it?
No, we don't send anything to the state electronically. If for results for state races and national races, I actually manually go on their website and type it in off of my reports. I don't send them anything.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I didn't understand the question.
I didn't follow that. How do you give them the vote for governor? in Saline
The results?
County? Yeah.
I manually put it in a website that they have that has passcodes for me to get on, and then I put in the results manually.
So that does go through the web. And so you know how many votes for X and Y that you put in. And now do you have a way to check that tabulation then is what the state adds up?
Well, I go through a process of entering in all of the state and national races off of my reports. I manually type it in, and then I have a verification screen to verify that I typed it in correctly, and then I submit it to the state. And once it goes to the state, I don't have any control over that.
That's my
Yeah,
question.
I don't know. I mean, it's all done in their system, so that was something maybe they could answer for you.
Let's see. Oh, you were talking about provisional ballots, which takes you right over to the suspense list, which I hope
Right.
you're going to talk about. But if people's name is on the suspense list, they become theirs becomes a provisional ballot.
No, they're not provisional. Not right now, because we're under a court injunction.
Oh, okay.
So just
then
like
we
in
should talk about
2016.
that.
Yeah, okay. So, well, actually, I'll start with voter registration, because that's kind of a part of it. Voter registration ends October 17th. So if you've moved, changed your name, like myself, or have any other circumstances, I can't think of any in this election, because the party doesn't matter. But if you have any changes to your registration, you have until October 17th at 5 o'clock to do that through our office. So we do the suspense list. Right now, we have, as of yesterday, I ran it, we have 234 that are on our suspense list for proof of citizenship. Those are people who are registered at, the injunction is for people who are registered at the DMV and have used the federal form. So when they register to vote. Because we have two forms in the state of Kansas. We supply the state of Kansas form. If someone requests the federal form, we'll print it off for them and allow them to use it. And accept that as well. But under the court injunction, because the state law still says that you need to provide proof of citizenship, you need to verify that, you're not you're still not technically fully registered because we don't have that part of the process. We do have a couple of checks. So if you're born in the state of Kansas, they constantly take that suspense list and match it up against KDHE vital statistics records to see if they can find your birth certificate through the vital statistics. We also have, if you showed it out the DMV, we have a way to go out and check to see if they did. We have a process through there. So, so anytime we get a federal form in, we still go out and look for those to see if we can have your citizenship papers somewhere. So we do try to clean that up ourselves. So as long as we can verify it through one of those processes, we wouldn't ask them to submit it. It's nice to have it in there, just,
But they go off the suspense list.
yes.
But if they had a different name at birth, you wouldn't find it.
Yeah, but it does also check their social and their birth date. So, right now with the court injunction, just like in November 2016, I'm not sure if everyone remembers, but anyone who is who've registered the DMV or used the federal form who have not provided citizenship can still vote, and they aren't provisional. They just come in, they'll be in the poll book just like everyone else. They'll just sign, check in, and go through the same process right now because we're under that injunction. So everybody who is on that suspense list can still vote in this election until some decision gets made. That's where we're at. The one downside to that is because the proof of citizenship requirement is still in law, they're on our suspense list. Suspense lists do not get what we call a notice of disposition, what most people know it as their voter registration card. So that little card that you get in the mail, it says, here's where you vote, here's who you vote for. People on the suspense don't get those. So the way you find out if you're one of those 234 people, you can go out to a couple of ways. We have it on our website to check your voter registration information on the election page, or you can go to, because it's linked out to Kansas Voter View, the state of Kansas Voter View, with the Secretary of State's office. So you can go out, you can put in your county, your name, and your birth date, and you can look up your registration and all of that information.
And what is your website?
Good question. It's www.celine.org.
And where on there do you find the list?
On the elections page. Oh, the suspense list isn't out there. But if they want to go out and check their information, they can go out
You
there.
can check it personally, but you can't get a list of
Personally,
everybody.
yes. We don't have
Oh,
a
I
list,
see.
yeah. But they can check their information out there where they would go to the polls. Also, your sample ballots are on Kansas Voter View. So if you want to go out and look at your ballot, you can go out and put in your information and your sample ballots out there. So you can kind of look at what's on your ballot this year and be prepared to vote. So, oh, the new driver's license with the star. That's kind of been a lot of questions for us. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a new driver's license that has a star on it.
How new?
A few months, 4 months maybe. So if you register recently, if you have the new one, it has a little star in the background. People have asked, is that proof of citizenship? That is not proof of citizenship. That is proof of lawful presence. So that is a driver's license, say that you are here legally. So if you have a green card or a work card, that's what that star's on, that you prove that. Advanced voting, we start voting by mail on the 18th, so we'll mail out our first batch of mail ballots that day. We are not voting in person though until the 24th of October. So if you want to come in and vote early, that starts in our office on the 24th. The last day to request a mail ballot or request a ballot by mail is October 31st. So it's a week before the election, which that's one of the other legislation changes
From?
last year.
Nope.
It used to be the Friday before, but with the mail service and everything, that was something that someone brought up, that it really needs to be that week before, that we get that request in, are able to get it out and they're able to get it back.
So it is a week, it's just not the end of the month.
Right.
It's the 7th.
It's a week, yes. So if you know, college students that are gone, you know, advanced ballots are a good way. Snowbirds, so if you're going on vacation, you don't have to have a reason to vote in advance, so. Have any other questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
The fact that people on the suspense list are eligible to vote this year because of the lawsuit, but don't get sent notice at their polling place just seems completely bogus to me, and I just wanted to make that comment.
I understand. I mean, it is really confusing if they use the federal form. I mean, I know a lot of different entities are pushing that form, but it does kind of, because the law's in place, the proof of citizenship. That's how our system is set up, to only send it to active voters. And since they're on the suspense list, they're not there. They do get a letter saying they're on the suspense list from us. It still says November of 2016 because the judge wrote it, so it doesn't, it is a little confusing, but we're not allowed to change any of the verbiage on it. It has to be according to the court.
Let's give her a hand.